The publisher Penguin on Monday pulled a book about Nelson Mandela off the shelves after the widow and the family of the former South African president complained that the author had not been given permission to do so. Mr. Mandela, who led the country out of apartheid in 1994, died at the age of 95 in 2013 following a prolonged illness. His doctor, Vijay Ramlakhan, wrote the book Mandela's Last Days, detailing the end of the freedom fighter's life. His widow, Graça Machel, is reported to be consulting her legal team as to whether or not to sue Dr. Ramlakhan. Mr. Mandela's grandson and the leader of the Madiba clan, Mandla Mandela, is said to be in favour of taking legal action. Now, an all-female police unit are shaking up India's male-dominated force in the conservative northwest of the country. The female officers have vowed to protect women taking to the streets to combat sex crimes and prevent a pervasive culture of silence around sexual assault. Let's take a look in our next report.
A new sight on the streets of the Indian city of Jaipur. These female officers are part of a unit that's been formed to protect the public and in particular the city's women.
We had 3 months special training. We were taught to ride scooters, karate and self-defense because sometimes there are really unruly people who can get physical. Our own safety should come first.
40,000 rape cases are reported annually in India, but the real number is thought to be much higher. Victims often don't report sexual assault, fearful of being judged or not believed by the country's overwhelmingly male police force. This squad patrols bus stops, colleges and parks where women can be vulnerable.
This is very good because men will be scared when they see these women on duty. If one man gets beaten up, others will also feel the heat automatically if they're doing any wrong. That's why I think it's a really good move.
The unit already seems to be making a difference here in Jaipur.
Our team is doing a very good job. There's been a preventive effect. Wherever these teams are on patrol at various designated hotspots, activities such as street harassment have been completely reined in.
The fatal gang rape of a Delhi student in 2012 caused national outrage. But nearly 5 years later, attacks remain widespread, with the capital recording an average of 6 rapes a day. Female units like these are set to be rolled out in several other cities, including maybe the capital, as India seeks to clamp down on violence against women.
In Mongolia's capital, skyscrapers and apartments give way to the bungalows of the yurt slums where the nomads that live there dream of city life. Let's take a look in our next report.
Mongolia's capital city is surrounded by vast slums of shacks and traditional yurts. Known as the Gher district, they're home to migrants from nomadic herding communities who are forced to move to the city by poverty and harsh rural winters. But for many, work is hard to find here, and it's a struggle to survive.
Sometimes we have nothing to eat for 1 or 2 days. Some days we skip a meal because I need to save limited food for the next day, so we don't have to go 2 days without eating.
Almost a third of Mongolia's population of 3 million lives off herding. But with increasingly cold winters killing off livestock, more and more of them are moving here, despite limited infrastructure and government attempts to stem the migration.
On the outskirts of the Gher district, in some places it's illegal to settle. It's not suitable for living, so some people live in illegal areas. That's why there's no infrastructure, no transport, no electricity, and lack of access to water.
In this district, home to an estimated 300,000 people, the Red Cross built 2 water wells and toilets to help with the most basic needs. But some still have to rely on traditional skills to get by. Shagdre Purusurum has lived here for 17 years and supports her family by selling dairy produce from her 3 cows. She worries about the future for her daughter, who can't find steady work.
We're trying everything that might be helpful.
As long as I'm alive, I will keep on milking the cows to survive financially. I hope my daughter can follow in my footsteps and raise the cows after I pass away.
With a newly elected president who himself grew up in a Gare district and has promised to tackle poverty and unemployment, the migrants are hoping that their government will hear their plight and help the once proud nomads get back on their feet.
A junkyard in London is thriving on its retro reputation, providing people in search of multicoloured neon lights of all shapes and sizes with up to 1,400 pieces to choose from. Let's find out more in this next piece.
So in here we've got approximately 1,400 pieces which are hanging up. We've got your ultimate roast dinner. We've got a mixture of sex, contemporary art, everything from love and lust. Everything's here. Neon's a big part of our life and it always has been since the 50s. My grandfather was a coal miner. He worked in Wales and he come up from the dark to the light and he worked for a lighting company. And that's where it all started. That is where he kind of got his grip and he loved it. Funfair, this is something from my granddad's era that we've rewired, got working. That's a lovely old piece. My dad started in the business in the 70s. We ended up getting in with most of the landlords and the owners of bars, clubs, strip joints. And that was where it just kind of went from there and there I am now. And in here you've got Jesus, son of a gun. And he's a really funny piece. People went in there and I found them often sitting there praying. It has changed an awful lot. Neon is not like it used to be, seedy brothels, hotels, joints, you know, all around Soho. It's now a neon contemporary art, people love it. The commissions I get every week now, probably 50% of them are for personal people's homes, something for their house or a present for someone. We worked on Judge Dredd, Batman, Superman, Tomb Raider, 3 Tomb Raider films. Up here we've got the Blade Runner Dragon, very popular, something I would never sell. It means a lot to me. From 1982, it's a fantastic art piece. Boom, this is the 4th generation, my daughter Amber, she made that. She's a graffiti artist and that's one of her pieces. And that's what we've created, 3 generations of light. That's, you know, this is what you get in our family. And then you've got the 4th generation starting now, which is fantastic. Over 65 years of history here.
Some sport now, and the Ivorian Arthur Cissé Nguye finished just behind Seychelles' Dylan Sikobo, who won the men's 100 metres at the ongoing Francophonie Games in Ivory Coast capital. Sikobo won the race in 10.33 seconds. On the upside, Congo's Natasha Goye Akamabi won gold in the women's 100 metres with a time of 11.56 seconds.
Yes, it was a wonderful surprise for me because it's my first Francophone Games this year. And also I am very happy.
It's really excellent. It's my first time. For me, it's really the best day for me. That's really terrible, it's my first one, but it's good.
Now, before we go, a reminder of our headlines. 7 civilians, including children, have been killed by a car bomb in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. "278 migrants rescued off Tripoli as they tried to reach Europe. And Kenya's presidential debate holds with just one candidate. Well, that's all from the news team and I tonight. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow. See you then. Goodbye.